Hey, and welcome. This is Paintin and Talkin with me, Evan Kessler. I'm painting and talking. Am I qualified to do painting? Look, everyone is qualified to do painting. Okay. Uh, I believe that look, everyone should just do art, even if you're bad at it. You should do art. I don't know if the volume is too low. It doesn't matter. This is a trial run for Painting and Talking. I am Evan Kessler. I have no formal art training, and I think that will come through in my in my in my painting and talking. I'm hunching lower because I'm trying to get in the frame and get the painting in the frame too. But I'm calling it painting and talking because I was walking around my apartment singing something to talk about, and I was singing "People are painting, painting, talking." You know, like the Bonnie Raitt song, something to paint and talk about. I so again, no formal art training. I have painted some things in the last couple of weeks. Hold on, let me get them. All right, coming. Oh, these are the paintings from the last few weeks. This is the first one, which I guess I just call I don't know. Maybe I was gonna call it the flow, and then this haven't really come up with a name for it yet. Maybe it's a free speech kind of thing. Uh, Maybe it's just called Zip It. Anyway, I think I had a good title for it initially, and then I just forgot. But those are my first two paintings that I've done. I just tossed them aside. People are painting and talking. Uh, and I guess it's time to get started. How do you get started painting? You just start painting. You go with whatever's in your heart and your soul and your gut. I think when you're a kid, if you're not good at art, people are like, oh, you're not good at art, and then you just go, I'm not good at art. But I think it's important to just like make art your whole life, even if it's bad. Um, I think everyone should be making art. I think everyone would just feel better if they were attempting to make art. So that's what I'm doing. Look, the world is a terrible place, and if you can grab some paints. This is my palette. Um, you grab some paints and just start going, and then see what comes up. See what you can make. Um, I don't know. I want to get the art. It's not a big canvas. I hope to work on a bigger canvas. I should be, while I'm talking, I should be putting paint on this thing to try to make a color. My initial thought is I want to make an orange as the base of it. But I don't really know how to do that. I know like what red and yellow make orange. I know I also have an orange. I have an orange color here, but I also don't know. I don't know. Last time I used the orange color, it wasn't satisfactory. It wasn't the kind of orange that I wanted. See, this is orange. So I'm gonna go with a red. That's orange again. I keep picking up the orange. Gonna go with a vermilion red, or maybe it's just vermilion. I don't know. I think it's fun to say these colors because every time you say a color that you know from like Bob Ross, you feel like Bob Ross, even though you don't deserve to feel that way. And maybe you do. Maybe you're in the spirit of Bob Ross when you're just having a go at it. We got some red and some yellow. I don't really know how you're supposed to mix them in, what the process is for mixing it in, but I just like to put it there on the thing and see what happens. Um, and previously, when I was painting, I didn't know what to do with this paint water, but because if you use acrylics, you can't. Oh, sorry, I'm like leaning on the thing. If you use acrylics, you can't just toss it into the sink. You have to dispose of it because otherwise, it's just gonna be there's just gonna be plastic in your sink. And I didn't want to like ruin my apartment by by throwing paint water into my sink. So okay, so I'm mixing up the red and the yellow. It's kind of orange. I think I want a lighter orange though, and I don't really know how to do that. I think. Well, let me dip that in there. I think you can like put a little water. Well, I don't know. Maybe it needs a little bit more yellow. It's a decent orange. I think it's a well formed orange, but I want a lighter orange, and I might have to throw some titanium white in there. It's just fun to say titanium white. And look, I know nobody's watching. Um, but look, nobody has a job anymore. We're all screwed. And so if I can just have fun painting and maybe people will watch it and they'll have fun watching me have fun. And I think that's important when you're, oh, what the hell is that? No, that's white. That's what I want. But I think I used too much white in the last couple of paintings, and I'm really struggling to I got see you need some water to. I don't know what I did with I had a water bottle around here somewhere, and I was gonna use it as like a spray. Oh, there it is. There's a spray bottle. Um, get a little more liquidity to this orange, but I think I want it to be, it's a nice orange, but I think I just need more yellow to it. I need it to be lighter. I don't really know how to make things lighter, but I want like it's sort of a cross between like fire and sunshine, which is a little bit I don't know. I think I have too intense of an orange, and I want to lighten it, but I don't want to go overboard with all of the yellow. But also, maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe that's just what I need to do. And I'm gonna have to buy new acrylic paints anyway soon. Because look, I don't have enough. These tubes, I'm a little bit insane with like not knowing how to make things, and so I'll just keep combining things and then not. Um, I don't know. It feels like if I keep working to make things lighter, it doesn't necessarily make it lighter. It just produces more of the same color. But I'm just gonna stick some more white in here if I have any. Oh, way too much white, and I've exhausted a lot of my. I would say I've exhausted a lot of my whiteness. Isn't that the story of? Oh, but that looks like a good color. Then it also looks like Thousand Island dressing color, and I don't really want that. But that's also kind of there's a certain lightness to it that I like, that I think is the right hue. And I think we can get started from there. I think it's a kind of sunny, fiery orange, which hopefully when it dries will come across as sunny. And maybe it would have been better if I kept it a little darker, but who knows how it dries up on the oh, I dropped a brush that I want to use as my background. So I'm going to use this orange as my background. I'm going to spray a little water in it. I don't want to do that near my computer. I'm doing this through my computer, but look, this is it's a process, but it doesn't have to be a process where I destroy my computer. But you know what? Maybe things would be better if we all destroyed our computers. And okay, that's a nice color. I think I'm gonna like ruin this color very quickly because I think I want to go over it with. I'm sort of seeing in my head what I want this painting to be, and it could change within a few minutes. It could change. It's I'm operating. I'm not trying to create a single image, although I have had an image in my head that I thought of while I was walking around today, and it's sort of. I don't want to say it's. I don't want to say it's a storm, but maybe I do but it's all an abstract because I don't know how to draw a storm. I don't know how to draw weather and sunsets and everything. Just sort of every color and placement is sort of meant to convey an idea of something, but not necessarily an exact image. Hold on, let me get some more water in here. I don't think I'm doing this right. I think but it's making for more paint. Who knows if it'll be too light, but I think it's coming out the way I want it to. I think that's a nice. I think I initially wanted sort of on the border of orange and yellow, but I'm also happy to sort of. It's a bit more fiery than I initially wanted to depict, but I also think that there's a purpose to it. And I think it's gonna end up how it ends up. And I'm gonna keep. That's sort of the way art is in my estimation. Things you get, as Bob Ross used to say, and I don't, I'm not trying to become Bob Ross because I have none of that skill and none of that ability, and I don't have a palette knife either. I'm just working with what I got. But that's sort of a color that I like. This color, I think this is a nice. Kind of want it to be representative of like light shining through in a dark, if any manages to shine through the course of like what I'm doing. I want. I think I kind of just want it to be not chaotic. I'm there's a certain I say darkness to it, but I have all these. I'm just dabbing things everywhere. Probably shouldn't treat my brushes and things the way I'm treating them. I don't really know how to treat them, but I know I've had these, I don't really need this thing, this brush per se. I guess I should keep that a little wet. And then I want to start some sort of maybe like a cloud base or something. I'm just creating some sort of, I don't really know what this is, but I want it to sort of be representative of like, well, I haven't even mixed the color yet. So what am I talking about? I want to get some sort of grayish, cloudish, what if it's like a dark blue? Ooh, Patholo blue. I don't know what that means. But I know I have a gray. Kind of want it just to look stormy. So you're going to need, for that, I'm assuming, I'm going to need some black. And I'm going to need some white. That I am using too much of. Maybe a black, gray, and white. Maybe that'll give some, like, again, using too much white already, but I want it, okay, white is in there. I'm really just haphazardly shoving a bunch of colors into and seeing really what happens when colors stop being polite and start getting real. Is that a thing? Okay. So mixing black and white, a little too dark here. And I don't really have, maybe a little yellow into the black and some gray. This is like all just trial and error of being stupid and not understanding how colors work. But if I knock some gray, see, the gray is like tantamount to black in here. And I think maybe a tiny bit, that might be a bad idea. Like maybe there's a little bit of a flesh color to lighten it, or, it makes sense that you would use yellow to lighten, but I don't want to make it too, so we have black and white, and then just there's some yellow in there. But I don't really know if that's what the desired effect that I want. So this might be crazy. I'm using some flesh tint in my black, and I don't think it's going to be the desired effect that I want. I want to lighten the black, and I'm not sure flesh tint is the thing you want, but maybe not so bad. Maybe not so bad. If I can get a little more white in there, maybe it'll gray it up. Maybe I can spritz some water on it. Spritz some water. And really just poorly I have a poor understanding of what creates certain colors. Uh, Very poor understanding, but the basics to me are just like, hey, why don't you put black and white and you can do a thing, and hopefully it'll work. So, ooh, I don't want to get orange into it. The orange is like very close now, and that's scary for me. But I mean, it's a decent gray, and I think I want to try to like um, sort of dab it in there. But if I can like make it increasingly like lighter down the way, I think it's not the color that I want. I think this is going to be one that I end up just I might even just delete this whole video. I just kind of want it to be this dark. It's dark and sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Turbulent. I want it to be like turbulent. Because that's how everything feels now. Everything feels kind of turbulent. There's helicopters overhead. And I think I'm going to get like a lighter shade and mix it in as well. I think I'm just going to keep what I'm doing as far as like technique, which I have none. I've already admitted to not having a technique, but that's okay, because I mean, it's probably not okay with the real artists, but I'm sort of painting in this uh, emotionally, and it might sound like bullshit, but it's like, we're living at a turbulent time. So I kind of just want the process to reflect that. I don't know. What am I talking about? I'm a guy who has never painted much in his life. But look, I think the importance of expression is often overlooked. I know that kind of looks like shit. And it's not really meant to, well, I don't know. Is it meant to look like shit? Or does it just look like shit, But that's okay, because, I mean, that transition of, but that's okay, didn't make sense. But I think, look, I think a lot of us feel like shit right now. And I think when you're expressing that, it's things might look like shit. I don't, and I think a flower grows from fertilization by means of, oftentimes shit. Sorry to be so crass. If you're offended, I don't know. I'm not one of those people who's like, if you're offended, then tough. I mean, I also don't know why you would be offended by anything I just said. I'm trying to take things lighter. I want to get like, hold on. I'm still managing to create a hue here that I want it to be gray. I just want it to be lighter though. And now this is like too blue. How do people do it? I think artists who mix these colors and are constantly just like getting the colors that they want, that's pretty amazing. Because I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you get, a cloud color, or I think I want to try a different brush. I think I'm going to try, well, let me get some water in there. I want to lighten it up. The first time I did this a few days ago, I think I was like on the ball with banter and you know art a little more, and now I'm just kind of, I think I overdid it. I think I should have just like, I think I'm trying to make too much here, and I'm not letting the process take over. I think I'm really, oh no, don't go there. I made like a little river of color, and orange is seeping in. And I'm just trying to get a little more white into this. You get like a vision of yourself painting, and you think of, for better or for worse, the frame of reference so many of us have when we, about art, is Bob Ross. So you pick up a brush and you're like, oh, I'm just going to do stuff like this, and it's going to be obvious what I'm doing. But I think this is a nice, adds depth, and you probably can't see it. Well, now that I've moved it, you definitely can't see it. There you go. I'm trying to add some depth of the color, some different gray, get lighter. I think we're all in this, under this dark pall right now, and I think it looks better up close right now than it is on screen. I just sort of think a lot of us are feeling a lot of darkness at the moment, and I wanted the orange as a, like, I don't want to cover it all up, I wanted the orange as this sort of there's a double meaning to the orange. Like, I think that the orange is like the fire of current existence, but also it's like light shining through. And I might just put a little more yellow, mix a little yellow in there to make it seem like there's some sort of, light beneath. And my initial idea for the painting was just this cloud, this cloud enveloping everything, And I don't know if it really comes across as a cloud, but I think if I just kind of uh, make it a little, not even like inconsistent, it's just sort of, I just want to layer the gray, and it has to be like a dark gray. And I don't think it'll come through. This is like, when you don't know what you're doing technique wise, but you have an idea in your head. Like, here's the idea that I had. I thought, hold on, let me move it closer, because you can't really see, and maybe I'll move the light in a little more. But the idea was just that I would have this dark cloud over everything, and I think lately that's what the first couple of paintings I've done have just kind of felt like there's a lot of darkness going on in the world, and I want to sort of address that through my amateur art, you know, and I just want to sort of, but I also want there to be some sort of lightness to things, and I think the 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 counterpoint to all the darkness, I want there to be not just light pushing stuff up at the bottom, um, and maybe there is some of that. Maybe I'll mix some yellow into the gray, and then just sort of, maybe that works if I, hold on, take some of this orange and sort of mix it with a little bit of the gray. And I try to go along the bottom here. But I don't know if that's really working. I think it needs a little more yellow in there. We have a yellow mid, and I think maybe if you mix that and sort of, I'm going to bring some sort of, this is a little mustardy, but I want it to be a little bit mix of like sunlight and sort of at the base of the darkness, there's still a sort of light that permeates, and it's kind of ugly because it's fighting through this darkness. And I don't want it to be like, see, now it just looks like a disgusting color. Maybe it needs to be, maybe we need a little more light. A little more lightness in the yellow to sort of permeate. How many times did I say permeate? So it's kind of like a conceptual I just want, and then sort of underneath, I just want not even like brightness. Hold on, I need to get some water in here so I can bring back that gray. Like, doesn't it's more blue now than cloudy. And I think by going over it, just kind of definitely amateur hour over here. People are painting and talking. Kind of want to get kind of want it to maybe look sort of like a tornado coming through, and I don't even know if you would see that. I just want it to be kind of subtle. And I don't know how you would make a tornado cloud other than just kind of, you don't really see it. I think maybe I need a little differentiation. Maybe mix some of that gray with that yellow and just go, ooh. This is probably the worst one I've done. But also maybe that like daylight. I think it might look different. I had like a grand idea for this one, and I think when you think about it too much beforehand, it kind of, I don't know. Like I want the sort of darkness over everything. The grayness, but now it just looks like I painted it all one color, but maybe I need some sort of, I think if I outline it, it just looks dumb. But what I initially wanted is I just wanted a whole spark of different color coming from underneath, and that to represent like, you know, the artists and the people with hope and life underneath, sort of fighting off the darkness in this instance, And I don't know if that will come through. And I don't know if that's just a different, a different. So I'm going to get some of this blue in here. And it's funny because you're working with all these colors, and part of me wants to just use the color as is, but there's also the temptation to be like, no, you got to make something, you got to create a color. Like, what if I just use this cerulean blue? What if I just do that and go, what? there's a little splash of blue there fighting off. There's life there. There's life. Pushing back against the darkness, you know? And I just want a lot of different color pushing against the darkness. I don't know. So like I got that blue, maybe some light green. I don't know. I've got a bunch of greens, some light green. See what happens there. And I use that. I feel pretty light on the comedy today. I feel like the last time I did this, I posted it on Instagram, and I was very like, I was very much more vibrant. I was probably, well, I don't want to say it. I think you get banned on YouTube for saying certain things, certain states of mind you were in. You can maybe imagine what that means. I might have, maybe I should have done it before I got, maybe it would have made me feel artsier. If you catch my drift, if I had done certain things prior to starting this project, I might delete it later, but we'll see what happens. I just want there to be some sort of life pushing back. And I think that's the color. That's the purpose of the color down there. Just this sort of pushing back against the darkness. Take whatever meaning you want from that, maybe it means the we celebrate our differences and are together in our differences, and maybe that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. We celebrate our diversity, and we celebrate our diversity of experience and come together to push back against the darkness. That's a good explanation, I think, and that's really what I'm feeling. But as far as like art wise, what I can convey as to with no technique under my belt and no real knowledge of just me not being great with mixing colors, and let's see, what are we doing here? Me not being great with mixing colors. And I think I might, well, when you think you have a good idea, you're like, maybe I should mix purple into the clouds. And you're like, I don't know if anyone thinks that's a good idea. But if you have purple, why not give it a shot? We're all trial and error here. And I think honestly that might be fun to mix that into the gray. Though I don't think it mixed well. I think I lost the gray with letting it dry up a little bit. But it's like under the cover of night, the gray. But mixing purple and gray, not the worst idea anyone has ever had. But now I'm just putting gray on top of gray on top of gray. And, maybe there'll be a layering to it, and maybe it'll just be a gross kind of creation, which, look, it's looking like it. But the reason I had the orange to begin with is there's a little bit of light shining through. Whether or not that can be conveyed, I just mixed a little white in with the purple and the gray, and we'll see what happens there. I'm gonna mess around with it, and I don't think that's the color that we want, but it's the color we get. What color we have here? I'm doing a Puhan Luke thing, but it's not really working. What we've got here is failure to make a gray. Some grays you just can't create because you don't know what you're doing. And you're trying to make clouds, but it looks like crap. But now you have purple and gray, and you've really done it now. And it's not coming out, but you have a big smudge of weird color. We're just enveloped in all manner, all shades of darkness. Maybe it is nice to have several dark shades on top of one another to give it depth. It's sort of a midnight. I've been really obsessing over just having dark colors, and I think a lot of it is this is where we are, and if I'm looking at it, if I've got light properly hitting it, I don't know if you can, well, can't really see that, whatever. Got light properly hitting it, then maybe it'll convey something more. But for now, we're just kind of dropping some different hues. Hugh Moore, that's a comedian I know. It's the first Hugh that came to mind, not Hugh Grant, but Hugh Moore. Wonderful comic, great dude. Ultramarine blue. I think I keep putting the same. What if I mix two different blues? Oh, there's no ultramarine blue yet. I haven't opened it. And I don't know. What is ultramarine blue anyway? You think it's more blue? You think it's like a brighter blue? Or is it, it's like a darker. Is it deeper in the ocean? Or is it meant to be like the top, the lighter? That's ultramarine blue. And this is more like sky. Let's see what happens if I do a little ultramarine blue. Yeah, I just kind of want the color to come up, help us fight this darkness with all this attempts at lift, I think this is the attempt. It's sort of a everyone, just like people, or all the different light, all the different color, just trying to push the darkness back up, but having a hell of a time of it. And you can't really see it because it's just really um, not. It's eclipsed by all of the darkness. And I think saying that makes it sound like a real like a real work of art, like a real artistic idea, for better for worse. You like, Evan, I don't know what you're talking about. You're just like rambling nonsense, but like, I don't know, other crazier ideas have been expressed. And I think maybe part of it is you maybe need more of a visual, not a visual, but you maybe need more of this color to shine through. But the point of it is that all of that is being suppressed. So you have all this light and all this brightness, and then all this darkness, right? And then you've got a little bit of light peeking through at the bottom, like it's a little bit of brightness trying to fight through this like morass of darkness, whether it's like gray, purple, black, blue. It's just like an array of different dark. Oh, oops! I didn't mean to do that. Dark tones. Different, when you're looking up at the clouds, and it's just like sometimes you're looking up at the clouds and they're like, well, there's more color there. That sometimes the moon is hitting the clouds, and you're like, oh, I didn't realize clouds could be so different than the night sky. Or in the night sky, that you didn't realize they could be so different, but they do. You do sometimes when you're looking at the stars and the clouds settle in, you can see the shape. You can see they don't just blend into the night sky. They have I don't know. This doesn't look good, but maybe when it dries up. And I didn't really need to try to make like tornadoes and stuff in it. As long as there's like some orange coming through, you barely see it, but the point is that it's there. There is, is it fire? Is it light? The eye, it's in the eye of the beholder. And this is definitely, this is definitely not my favorite thing I've done. I think the other ones have more merits. Well, I wouldn't say have more merit. I think they have more shape to them. I think that's the phrase I would use. Oops. And look, my technique is shit, but My heart is pure. Okay. Um, my my reasons for painting are not just therapeutic, although, I think they definitely bring an ease. Painting definitely eases your mind. It gives you something else to focus on in this sort of cursed existence that we're in right now. And maybe some people don't feel that their existence is cursed right now. Maybe some people are living it up. Maybe for some people, these are the salad days. I don't even really know what that means, but I think it just means you're kind of having a good time. You'll remember these days. Or I could be wrong. It could mean something is shit. But I just like. Is it that I like the darkness? I don't know. I think part of me, I think some of us, we get a little caught up in the darkness. And I don't know. I'm trying to give this a different shade of, it's still got some light shining through, even though it's dark. So I just put that yellow in there. It's like a shadow of the light coming through. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if it's a shadow of the light coming through, but I want it to sort of, when the light sort of reflects on the clouds and it's brighter down there and then it's just darker up top. I don't know. I think there's something to it. And look, I'm not trying to make. I'm not gonna be a Van Gogh or anything. I'm just trying to find something. No, there's something to this. There's something to this coloration that I'm doing right here. It feels like it's adding a depth to it, almost like a Northern Lights kind of thing. That's interesting. That's interesting, man. Yeah, I want to add some sort of depth to there's a little aurora borealis. I've never seen the Northern Lights, but kind of like that. Kind of gave it more. So that's just so we got this whole world below trying to push up the darkness. There is some light in the midst of it. If you were here up close, you'd be like, "Oh, I see what you're talking about." But I also have not framed this well. I'm on my computer, filming on my computer, and now I have paint on my hands, so I'm not going to touch my computer, But we're pushing up. We're coming through. We're creating. And it's okay if it's not. It's okay if it's not a fine. I'm not going to see it in the Louvre anytime soon. Unless I go to the Louvre and I just throw it into the Louvre. Then we'll see it in the Louvre. Aha, got you, Louvre. Foiled again. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Is that it? An hour of painting seems like a good amount of painting just to make something kind of fun. I think I want a little bit more green in here somewhere. That's good. Maybe this one is look, I wasn't listening to any music, but maybe this is like Sour Times. like a Portishead song. Although it doesn't look like it. I'm just sort of making a title. It doesn't necessarily apply, but it's yeah. There you go. We got a lot of darkness, a little bit of I don't like that. I don't like what I just did. You ever just like mess around too much and be like, I'm screwing it up. Let's go over it a little bit. It's okay to have some light shining through. And yeah. And then the brightness is trying to exist in all this darkness. All the way down there. You can't really see it, but that's purposeful. So this is me making art. This is Evan painting and talking. Evan is painting and talking. And this I think this is our first episode. Maybe I never do another one, but I kind of like it. And I hope you've gained any sort of entertainment from this. And if not, it's fine. I'll just make more, and maybe you won't care, or maybe you will. I'm having fun. I'm doing some painting and talking. Just gonna keep adding a little color to it until I go get sick of it, which will be very soon. All right. Maybe I'll give me a second here. I'm gonna put that away. I didn't know how to get rid of my paint water. I don't know if I said that already. I didn't know if I knew how to get rid of my paint water, so I just bought cat litter to pour the paint water into. And this is like my maiden voyage with like putting the paint water into the cat litter. That's neither here nor there. We made this weird painting that, look, I don't. See all the light trying to push up the darkness underneath, and the sort of cloudiness. Is that what it is, or is it nothing? Probably nothing, but I painted with intention, and that's probably what's important. But the most important thing is that I painted, because look, you can't be I think doing art a little bit every week or every day is important. And I think even if you're not good at it, just try. Because I don't know, as long as you keep making stuff, it has value. And that's that. I think I'm going to end the stream, and I hope the audio is decent here. That's that. Painting and Talking, episode 1, signing off.